We're going live and we're going to get this show on the road. Waiting for it. The live stream always takes a minute. And it's live. It says it's setting it up for me. Done. Redirecting. There we go. Okay, we are officially live in the GHL Mastery Facebook group for day 2 of how to sell high level at high ticket prices. For those of you guys, so if you're watching this live on Facebook right now, we did actually post the link for you guys to jump in and join us live on Zoom so that you can maybe ask us any questions after the fact if you want. But yeah, if you're on Facebook and you want to jump in on this, you can. It's available. Everybody that is here right now is going to get the documents and resources that we're going to be covering and going over today. So if you want those documents and resources, the live Zoom meeting is the only place that you're going to get them for now. So if you want them, make sure you jump on here, get on here live on the Zoom call so that you can get all of the resources and documents that we're going to be talking to you guys about today. Now, in the chat, even though I can't see it yet, there it is. Who got a little bit of a change of heart, change of mind yesterday about what is possible with high level? Did we do a good enough job in convincing you that this is actually a legitimate solution that can help you scale? Gianni, you missed yesterday. The recording is in the free group currently. So I want to see ones in the chats, yeps in the chats, fire emojis, whatever you want. If yesterday kind of got you to start thinking about the possibility, that was our goal with yesterday, was that you don't need to just get high level and do what everybody does. The 90% of the high level community is doing the same thing. And the vast majority of the high level community is also not making enough money to feed their family every single month. That's just the reality of it. A lot of us are not set up to have large SaaS companies because we are not set up to have large teams. And with the methodology that we teach, you actually don't need it. And so, yeah, we're getting tons of ones, tons of comments. So I'm glad that hit home for everybody, because that was literally the goal of yesterday, was just to get you guys to shift your mindset to understand what you actually have available to you, and not only what you have, but what companies are actually also paying for this kind of stuff. And so that's step 1. You've got to believe that you can actually build a business off of this. And if you do believe that you can build a business off of this, now we get into day 2, which is going to be all about finding your perfect prospects, creating a good sales system. And personally, Brendan and I, we love this sales system because neither of us are great, quote unquote, great salespeople. It's one of the biggest struggles that we had in our individual businesses together before we even before we partnered up. We both were really, really good at the tech side, but both of us really, really struggled with sales calls, demos, and those types of things. And one of the reasons why, which we covered kind of yesterday, was that we struggled to sell a specific solution that we had. So I struggled to sell reputation management because maybe they didn't need it. Maybe they didn't want it. But the methodologies that we're going to go over today, which you'll see in our little document that everybody's going to get, you don't have a product to sell them, which for me makes the sales calls so much easier. And both Brendan and I have had a much better closing ratio with this methodology than we had prior, because again, we actually don't have anything to sell you until we know what we have to sell you. And once we know what we have to sell you, it's because you've already told us what we have to sell you. And now we can just go and create that and build that solution that's going to solve a specific problem. So that's the methodology that we're going to cover today. And we're going to cover it in 3 different parts. Okay. We're going to cover it in part 1, which is prospecting, finding your ideal prospect, finding your ideal client. Part 2 is going to be the overall sales strategy, the overall sales structure that we follow when we do our sales calls, whether that's with other small businesses or whether it's actually with agency owners that need this same stuff. And then part 3 is fulfillment. So those are the things that we're going to cover today. One's in the chat. Again, if you guys are ready to rock and roll and dive into this, today might be a little bit longer than yesterday. So for those of you guys that are joining in that are already part of the VIP program, our Thursday AI call is probably either going to get canceled today or get moved along and be shorter. So,
But I had fun
all
things
right.
to show them.
Yes, you do. It's fine. Okay. I don't have a fancy dancy Canva template document thing anymore. We are going to literally be doing this off of a Google Doc, which, by the way, everybody, we're going to go share. We're going to go anyone with the link. I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to drop it into the chat right now for absolutely everybody that is currently on this Zoom link. And if you are not on the Zoom, get in the Zoom so that you can grab all these documents and resources that we're going to be going over today. And this is a basic breakdown of our strategy that we kind of, again, we said this yesterday, we kind of accidentally started doing this. And then it was like, holy crap, this is actually so much better to help us grow and scale our business. And not only that, but again, like I mentioned, we aren't the greatest at sales. And this method has made it way easier for us to sell. And so we're going to kind of dive through this. So how to sell high ticket builds, selling high ticket solutions requires 4 things. You'll notice that I skipped a 4th thing, but prospecting, finding your ideal client, sales, finding the problems that you can solve, and then fulfillment, needing the knowledge and the skill set and the team to actually fulfill these systems, which we covered yesterday, right? The ability to scale is going to be determined on how much money you actually have in the bank account. And it is really, really hard to scale and hire development teams, hire fulfillment teams when you're selling something for 97, 297, 497 a month. Okay. And so that's obviously a big part of, sales leads to fulfillment, prospecting leads to sales, and so on and so forth. So we're going to break down each one with resources that you actually need to build it. And I'm not going to read verbatim all of this stuff because I put this in here for you, but we're going to talk about the methodology around finding your ideal client, because your ideal client is not going to be my ideal client. And I'm going to show you exactly why that's true. It's oftentimes the hardest part of any business is deciding, who am I going to go after? Why am I going to go after them? What does it even make sense for me to target this company? The methodology that we're going to cover down here is kind of a methodology that my coach inadvertently taught me that actually changed the way that I do business. And we're going to talk about the 10-10-10 method. It's the greatest name of all time. I made it up. But the idea here is that in order for you to pick something, you need to pick something that you enjoy. You need to pick something that you are good at so that you avoid burnout. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily mean, okay, I've got this awesome software. I am now going to go and start selling reputation management. To who? Who are you going to sell reputation management to, and why? Do you know how to manage Google business profiles, or are you okay going to learn about that? Because if you're just going to do reputation management, you can add a lot to those services by learning how to optimize Google business profiles. If you're going to be doing database reactivations, well, in order to do a database reactivation, you need to know about the company that you're going to be doing the database reactivation for, so that you understand what their clients and prospects need in order to run a proper, good database reactivation. So the first thing that you need to do is pick a niche. I know that there's a lot of people that we get on calls with, and they're like, I always ask them, what's the first thing? Are you focusing on a niche? And they go, oh, well, I'm thinking about just a small business niche. Well, that's not really a niche. And the reason it's not a niche is because there's a lot of moving parts within the small and medium business community, right? There's a lot of different types of businesses, a lot of different types of things, and you don't know about all of them. And so the
Another
reason that I
factor,
recommend, go ahead, Brendan.
really quick, another factor on that is if you don't pick a niche, but maybe it's, or you do pick a niche that you aren't familiar with, terminology is key. When you're talking to these people, if you don't understand that niche's terminologies, they're not going to see you as an expert in any way. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about, dude. And so
Exactly.
that is a big help.
Which is why right here, we highly recommend that you start with the niche that you have experience or a good base knowledge about, so that you can talk about it, right? Having the ability to actually talk to people in their language with their lingo, like is absolutely huge. And knowing about that niche already is already going to give you a leg up when it comes to the types of solutions that you may need to build. So pick a niche. That is my recommendation. Don't be a generalist, because you're going to generally just fail. Whereas if you pick a niche, you can You can be specific about what you're doing. Can that niche change? Can it expand? Absolutely. But when you're just starting out, you need to pick something you know. You also need to pick a service or solution that you love and are good at. Okay. And I've already mentioned that, right? Pick something that you love and are good at, because if you are doing those things, that is going to lead you to living the lifestyle that you want to live, right? It's not necessarily going to be, I'm going to do this because this is what I'm told. It's going to be, I'm going to do this because this is what I love, right? I'm going to use my sister as a perfect example right now. My sister is currently in her 40s. She's now no longer working because they were managed to get out of debt and all this other stuff. And that's a whole other story. But she is now looking at starting a business. And I said, well, what are you passionate about? What do you love doing? She loves photography. She loves mountain biking. She loves all of these different things. I was like, okay, so why don't you go out there and, go to the mountains where people are mountain biking and offer to shoot, photos and videos for these people that are mountain biking. It's two of your biggest passions that you can build a business off of, right? And that's just one example, right? But picking something that you love and you are good at is going to be the difference between you getting burnt out in the first 12 months or you being a super passionate business owner that loves what you're doing. Because I can tell you for certain, I thought Facebook ads was going to be the greatest thing ever. I come from the tech space. I actually ended up hating Facebook ads and hating Google ads and just running ad campaigns in general. And I got burnt out really, really fast. When Brendan and I met, we both were like, we love the tech. Like, we are good at the tech. Let's build a business around the tech. And that's what we did, right? Because that's what we're good at and that's what we love. So that's made an absolutely huge difference. And then lastly, and this is the most important piece, is that when you are picking a niche, you have to be very specific about your personal goals when picking the niche you're going to go into. Because if you cannot find a niche that can pay you what you want, what your goals are, it's the wrong niche. You cannot make money pursuing low ticket clients if you have high ticket goals. Okay. So the 10-10-10 method we're going to talk about right now. And there's a little bit of a worksheet in here. So again, if you guys are on the Zoom right now, you guys are going to get access to this document right here. This is kind of just regurgitating what we already talked about, right? Pick a niche that you have experience in when you start out. Pick a niche that you know people in, which is also very, very important. And then follow the 10-10-10 method below, right? Pick a service or SaaS offer to sell. Pick a service that you know that you can fulfill on. Spend some time learning and understanding the software components of your core offer so that you can mix, match, make better, improve upon, build something, and then test it out, right? A lot of people just want something given to them and then they have no idea how to use it. And that actually stops them from going out to sell it. So my recommendation is always going to be to pick a service and go and build it. Don't rely on people's snapshots because you don't understand the snapshot in its entirety. And when it comes down to actually fulfilling for people, you're going to be all over the place trying to figure it out. So my recommendation is always to go build it first and then follow the 10-10-10 method below. Well, what is the 10-10-10 method? We already kind of covered a lot of them. You're going to write a list of 10 things that you are really good at and that you love doing. Now, this can be personal stuff. This can be business stuff. This can be tech. This can be graphics. This can be whatever you want it to be, right? But pick a list of 10 things that you love doing because this is going to help you avoid burnout over the long haul of your business. And you're not in this business for quick cash. You shouldn't be, at least. You should be in this business to build a long-term, sustainable, exitable business down the line. Okay. Now, using this list of the 10 things that you are good at and that you love doing, write down a secondary list of 10 problems that you can solve with those skill sets. Because people pay for problem solvers. So that's what you need to inject into your passions. What problems can I solve with this? Right? And then the most important part of this, and this is probably going to be the part that you're going to have to think about a little bit, is I want you to list 10 businesses or niches that can afford to pay you what you want to get paid to solve those problems, right? Because again, low ticket businesses are not going to pay high ticket prices, right? Whereas high ticket businesses that are making, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per client, well, they're going to be more than willing to pay you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a custom solution that's going to solve their problems, right? And so this part is absolutely key. Okay. At the bottom of this, guys, I kind of skipped ahead of here a little bit, but at the bottom of this is a little bit of a worksheet. So make a copy of this, and I want you to fill this out. Okay. The first time that I had to fill this out took me, it took me 2 hours of like serious thinking and contemplating. Okay, what are my skill sets? What do I enjoy? When I wrote down my list, my skill sets were, or the things that I loved and I was really good at. I was fortunate enough to really already be good at high level and understand the tech, but just technology and automation solutions in general was one of mine. I love people. I'm very outgoing. I've been outgoing my whole life. And so for me, being involved with lots of people was important. I love teaching. And so that was another one that was on my list. And lo and behold, what are we doing as GHL Mastery? We're doing all of those things, right? We've been able to build a business around all of those things that I love, that I'm passionate about, and that I'm good at, right? So I want you to complete this list of 10. That's like step number 1. Complete this list of 10 before moving on to list number 2. But in list number 2 is now you want to take that list of 10 things and you've got to write down a list of another 10 things that are problems that you believe that you can solve with those things. Because what that's going to translate into is going to be your core service, your core offer. Okay. And again, you can mix and match the things that you're passionate about, that you love doing, and that you're good at to create solutions and problems that you can solve with those things. Okay. And then the last
really
part
quick,
of this.
Can you drop this doc in the chat?
This doc is in the doc that I've already dropped in the chat. So it's hyperlinked. It's hyperlinked in here. So if you guys have this document, which is shared in the chat, which I think I can share again.
I just shared it again.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So this one
with all the people that are on both of them.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. 10 businesses or niches that can pay you what you want to get paid. This one is a little bit harder to do because now you've got the things that you love, the things that you're passionate about, and the problems that you can solve. Now you got to do a little bit of research. Now, again, I recommend that you try to stay in things that you know when you're starting out. Once you have already started and you've already had some success, now you can start to branch out and do, some of those other bigger businesses. But I want you to do a little bit of research here to figure out, okay, what do these businesses typically make in a year? What's their average ticket price on, a per sale basis? If it's a roofing company, and that was one of mine. Roofing companies can make anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 per job, right? So that was one on my list. Whereas, I know I get all worked up about this, and some of the GHL Mastery people know this about me too. But realtors was on my original list. Realtors are no longer on our list because they're cheap. They don't want to pay for anything. They don't want to pay to have problems solved. So that when we redid this list, that was no longer on my list because they're low ticket, typically people that can make high ticket prices, but they're not willing to pay for it. So do a little bit of research on some different business verticals, niches that you can operate in. That if you want to, and just put it this way, right? If you want to get paid $5,000 a month for consulting, you're not going to be able to charge that for a company that charges people, $250 a month, right? Unless they've already scaled past that. So take a little bit of time with this list and then put it together. Okay. Now at the bottom of this is kind of leading into the sales cycle of, okay, what are we actually going to offer? This is going to give you, so go back through each list and highlight the top 3 in each category, right? What are the top 3 things in each category? The top 3 things that you love and you're good at, the top 3 problems that you can solve with those things, and then the top 3 businesses that can pay you what you want to get paid to actually solve their problems, right? This is going to give you your service, your product, and your prospects. Okay, so that was thing number 1 of today, is how do you actually find your prospects? Now, how do you do your prospecting? Well, now your job is to go and talk to people. And that's the hardest part of this business for a lot of people, right? A lot of people will sit on trying to make something perfect that they will never go out and talk to people to figure out what it is that they should actually be making, which is another reason that we love the custom build model, because like I said, we don't actually have anything to sell you. When we first talk to you, we have nothing to sell you because we don't know what you need. Right.
It is funny going into those conversations though, because I'll approach a business owner and they'll be like, well, what can you do for me? I don't know. I have no clue what I can do for you, because I need to talk to you to find out what problems you have first before I can even tell you what I can do for you, because I can do a heck of a lot and our team can do a heck of a lot. But until I can talk to them, I have no clue.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what we did. And I really think this is more specific to people who are just starting out with Go High Level, is that you should go and find people in your sphere, your circle, your community, whether that's, church or, kids sports programs, like doesn't really matter, but go and talk to people that are in those top 3 business niches that you picked. And I want you to go and talk to them. And I don't want you to sell them anything. I don't want you to talk to them about this new business that you're starting or this new software that you've created. I want you to go and talk to them as if this is your own market research. And how many people do we have on this call right now, Brendan?
97.
97. Okay, so I'm going to call it 100. 10% of you are going to do this. And that is just a statistical fact. I might be being optimistic, but 10% of you guys on this call right now are actually going to go and do this. It's right here. This is the hard part, right? You need to go and talk to people to find out what problems they actually have in their business. And so there's another document that we're going to be going through today on the sales side, where I'm going to kind of walk you through how we actually have these conversations and ask the questions. But you're not going to sell them anything. You are going to go talk to them and you are going to ask them questions like, what type of business do you run? What do you do? What types of issues do you have within your business operations? If you could remove yourself from one area of your business with technology, what would it be? Why? Why would you want to do that? What would the impact of that be on your business if you didn't have to? Right? So those are the types of questions that you're going to start asking people when you just are having a conversation. And by the way, I just basically just gave you your sales call right there. You're not going to.
One aspect of this that somebody asked that I want you to touch on. So how do we go and talk to these people that you're suggesting we do that? Do we walk in, cold call, cold emailing? How should we do our market research?
Well, you missed the first part that I said. I said go to the people that are in your community, go to the people that are in your church, go to the people that are in your sphere.
Do it in person.
I talk to people at my son's hockey games. And if they just happen to own a business, what do? I cue my script, and my script is just a conversation. Tell me what you do, right? What types of problems come up with that type of a business? Like, what do you wish you didn't have to do? Right? It's about asking questions. And the reason that I find this easier than having a product already and then trying to sell them that product is that it's like, it's sales 101, right? I do all of the asking, they do all of the talking. And that is something that, both Brendan and I have had to learn how to do, because we were both product techies, got excited about the tech, right? But if you learn how to ask the right questions, and that's going to do 2 things. You're going to learn a lot about the problems that they have. You're going to learn a lot about their business. And number 2, this is just human psychology. They're going to like you better. Wow, balloons. My iPad's doing funny things. But they are going to like you better just because you're inquisitive, because you're inquiring. You're letting them talk about themselves, which, again, that's just sales and human psychology 101, right? When you ask the questions and they do the talking, they are going to naturally just learn to like you more, and they're going to learn to trust you more by default. And to kind of prove that point, who here likes talking about themselves? Right? Go one's in the chat if you like talking about yourself. And be honest, because we all do. If somebody asks you a question, hey, how are things going? How's your business going? It's going awesome. It's going really, really good, right? everybody loves to share. Me and my brother got into this just the other day. My brother works in an office, well, his other office right next to me here. And we were both talking about this. And, people like to talk about themselves. And so if you leverage that fact in your sales, people are going to actually like you more because you let them talk about themselves, right? Brady doesn't like to talk about himself. That's fair, Brady. You don't have to like talking about yourself, but I can tell you that 90% of your prospects and clients, they're going to like to talk about themselves. They're going to like to talk about all the things that they love. They're going to like to talk about all the things that they hate, right? That's just human nature. So with this methodology, that's exactly what you're letting them do. And it does create trust, which you need when you start throwing a $10,000 bill at them, right? So, like I said, there's 100 or so people on this call right now. 10 of you are probably going to do this. The other 90 of you probably aren't. So just go do it. Like it's right here. Go and do it. Go and talk to people. If you can break through that barrier in your business right out of the gate, I promise you that you are going to be able to scale and grow your business. So there you go. Prospecting 101. It's all about who you're going after, why you're going after them, and then can they actually afford to pay you what you want to get paid? There's your prospect pool. Now go and talk to the people in your sphere to start about those problems. And again, we're going to go into the sales cycle now where we're going to kind of break that down a little bit more. So before I go into the sales cycle, I'm more aligned on inbound, not outbound, says Dia. Dia, we are exactly the same as you. we hate the outbound. We hate the cold calling. We hate, the cold DMing and all of that sort of stuff. So guess what we don't do? We don't do that kind of stuff. Right? It's a little bit of a slower build if you're not willing to do the outbound. But what Brendan and I both do is we'll talk to people in where we are. And then we talk to those people, and those people think about us, and they'll go and tell their other, oh, I actually know a guy that could probably help you when they're having those conversations. Then all of a sudden people start coming to us. We've been doing custom builds for about, what would you say, Brendan? About a year and a half?
About a year. Yeah.
And we never, personally, I've never made a cold call. Brendan, you've never made a cold call.
Oh, heck no.
None of our sales staff have really done that. We've got some cold DMs that happen, but that's mostly with the agency side of GHL Mastery. We don't cold DM or cold call businesses at all. A lot of our stuff comes through word of mouth and having talked to people and showed people what we can do and done jobs for people who then tell other people about what we're able to do. Right. So when you solve a business's problems, they're going to be your biggest fan. They're going to love the fact that you did that for them, and they're going to tell other people, and then you start to build and grow organically. Way number 2 that we've done it is because we do things the way that we do things and we don't charge $297 a month, we have money that we can run ads. We can do our own inbound marketing because we can, right? For every $10,000 we make, we pump another $500 a month into marketing, right? And get inbound leads coming to us, right? So again, it's a scale factor. You're able to scale when you sell high ticket. You are not able to scale nearly as easily when you sell low ticket. So, okay, where are we here? Yeah. Okay. So this is also really important with your prospecting. We actually had this question on our GHL Mastery call the other day. How do you actually get people to be interested in what you're doing? And a lot of you guys have probably heard of this already, is creating that scary offer, right? It's creating that offer that's going to get people to think, oh, that's really interesting. I should talk to this person. And this can be a product, right? This can be reputation management based or database reactivation based or whatever other SaaS service you want to offer. Your scary offers can be around those things. But what we talked about on our GHL Mastery call the other day was that your sales call doesn't have to be about that. right? If somebody just wants reputation management and you have a sales call with them and they really don't feel like they have any problems in their business, they just need a reputation management solution, great. Downsell them to a $297 a month reputation management SaaS, right? But your sales call is not going to be about the reputation management. It's not going to be about the database reactivation, because realistically, you're going to get them with your scary offer. And go ahead and read this. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but you've got different types of offers that you can throw out there. That's how you're going to get the hook. They're going to be hooked in with the scary offer. Once they're on a call with you, once they schedule or book a call with you, it is no longer about your scary offer. Okay. At this point, it is about, what does your business actually need? I don't know if a database reactivation campaign is actually going to do anything for you. I don't know if you have a database. Do you have a database? If you don't have a database, why not? Right? What are the biggest issues that you're actually facing in your business to grow your business, to create, your ability to succeed with a scary offer? Right? So that's how you do it. You have to set the hooks with an offer that's going to get people to think about it. When I first started creating my scary offers, and Brendan, I know I'm saying I here, but this is because this is relevant to me.
I know.
I didn't want to do this because I felt like, I was told, you need to create an offer that even scares you.
We got to remember, we went through the same training.
We went through the same training. We both did the same thing.
I didn't want to do it either.
I didn't want to do this because I didn't believe I actually could with the individual services that I was selling, the individual SaaS products or the marketing products. I didn't feel comfortable doing this because I didn't know if I could fulfill it. Well, the problem that I had with that was that I was actually thinking about my product, my service, my solution, not their problem, their solutions. Right? And now, again, we don't have a product to sell you. If you get on a discovery call with us, we don't have a product to sell you because we don't know what your problem is. If my problem can't solve your problem, or if my solution can't solve your problem, then let's just get off the call right away because we're wasting each other's time. Right? But if you use the scary offer to hook them, to get them in, your sales call then becomes a discovery call to figure out, can we actually solve a problem? If your big ticket custom solutions that you have for them isn't the solution to their problem, you still have the downsell option to go into a simple SaaS solution for them. Okay. We've talked about a lot of this stuff already, and we're 35 minutes in, so we're actually doing pretty good. The reason that I've said this 3 times, there's nothing to sell the prospect, right? Sales calls became easier when we started shifting to this methodology because we weren't selling a product. We were finding a solution that we could create.
I even started out my sales calls or prospecting calls a little bit different. It was more like, so what can I do for you today?
Yeah.
That was it. Exactly. They started just word vomiting, telling me exactly what's going on, what they need to accomplish, all this information. Now I can start going through my toolbox of how to solve it.
Correct. All right. So we like, again, we personally do more of a 2-call close because call 1 is really discovery. We're trying to figure out, do you have a problem? Do we have a solution? Because if they don't have a problem, you're not going to sell them anything anyways. If they do have a problem, do you have the skill set? Do you have the technology? Do you have the ability to solve that problem? The amount of calls that Brendan and I get on at 7:00 at night, sometimes it's like, I just had a call with this person. This was their problem. Let's brainstorm. Can we solve it? Do we have the resources? Like, we get some really unique ones. And guys, sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes, like literally yesterday, we had a call last night and the answer was no. I don't think we can do that. So we're not going to offer them a solution. We can also afford to not offer them a solution because we have 4 other yeses over here that are $5,000 to $10,000 yeses. So we can say no. We can afford to say no. There's no pressure to say yes. Right? And again, that's scalability. is when you can now start to say no to people because they're not the right fit for your business versus just trying to squeeze the last little bit of juice out of the lemon, right? It doesn't make sense to do that. So the first call, guys, is discovery. And on this call, it is your job to ask questions and shut up. Ask questions, shut up, listen, write down the answers. And anytime that they key in on a problem, ask another question, dig deeper, put yourself even further into that problem. And then part 2 of the discovery call, and here, I'll open up this document here as well so that everybody can see this. That's hyperlinked in here. This is a great, one of the greatest questions. I've already said this question already, but this question has been an amazing question for us, is that if there was any part of your business you wish you didn't have to do or would make you more money or would save you more time, what would it be? Right? Take your pick how you want to slice that question up. If there's any part of your business that you wish you didn't have to do and would save you more time, what would it be? Right? I promise you, they're going to word vomit all over you. And now you switch to the power of why. Okay, well, why is that? Notice that why is also a question, right? I'm not talking at them at all in this stage of the sales cycle. So what is it that you wish you didn't have to do? Okay, awesome. Well, why? What would the impact of that be? And how would that actually help your business? Would that give you more time? Would that make you more money? Would that, what is the impact of you not having to do that thing? Because now you're finding the problem that you can solve for them. Okay. And then once you kind of understand that portion, it's the power of if, right? If you didn't have to, what would that do? If you got more prospects, what would that do? If you increased your conversion ratio in your business, what would that do? And what we're now trying to do here is we're trying to evaluate the actual value of the solution to that customer, to that prospect. Right. And really, really simple math. If you say, well, how much do you like to bill? How much do you bill yourself out on an average, hourly rate? I'm going to use an easy number because I'm terrible at math. They say $100 an hour. Okay, awesome. How many hours does it take you to do your invoicing and your quoting every single week? Well, about 10 hours. Okay, well, now you've got some numbers to work with, right? 10 hours, $100 an hour. That's $1,000 a week. That's $4,000 a month that they're spending doing this one thing that they don't like doing. Now extrapolate that over the course of a year, because if you're in business, that's how you should be thinking. You should not be thinking month to month. You should be thinking annually. Right? So, okay, 40,000, Brandon, do the quick math for me. $48,000 a year is roughly what it would be costing them to be doing this one thing with this example. Right?
Totally wasn't listening to the math.
That's fine. I think I nailed it.
Sure.
$48,000 in time spent per year doing this thing. So what if you didn't have to do that? What would you do with that extra time and that extra money? Is that now worth $10,000 to them to solve, to save, 40 hours a month? So time, money, pain are the things that you're trying to solve for. Okay. And the power of if you didn't have to do that, what would be the impact on your business? What would you do with that extra time? What would you do with that extra money if you didn't have to do that? If that problem was solved? Because what this is now doing, and this is something that I learned back even before I started my own business, this was when I was just in sales, but if you can get them to tell you what this if statement is, oh, it would save me a ton of time. I'd probably be making $50,000 more a year. Great. If you were making an extra $50,000 more a year, what would you do with that? Would you hire somebody else to save another 25 hours? Would you take your family on a trip to Mexico? Would you what would that do? What's the power of that in your life, in your business? Right? So again, I can't really have this same conversation if I'm dead set on selling reputation management. right? It's a very, very hard conversation to have. But when I'm dead set on solving a problem for somebody, then I can have this conversation because I don't care what your problem is. I need to know what your problem is, and I need to know what the impact of that problem is on your life, your business, your family, so that if I have a solution, I know exactly what I'm solving for. Okay. Now, we talk a lot about, I'm going to kind of scroll through here a little bit. We kind of talk a lot about, and one of our biggest sales functions is to figure out, for a lot of people when it comes to high level, because again, we're talking about our strengths here, right? Our strengths is the tech. Our strengths is creating really amazing, simple to use automations within the high level ecosystem. So for us, that's kind of we want to find out, can we solve a problem through that medium? One of the ways that we do that is finding out specifically what a customer journey looks like for our customer. We literally had a call this morning with it's actually funny. He's one of our team members, and he's also one of our clients that we're building something out for him. And that's what we were going over. We were going over, what does your customer journey actually look like? Right? What does it look like for somebody to come into your gym for a free trial versus staying at your gym for months and months and months? Right? What does the sign up process look like? What does this look like? What does that look like? When you start to talk about solving a problem in relevant terms that they can understand, it does two things. And we like the customer journey structure because it gets them to think about their business. It gets them to think about, okay, how are we getting our leads? Are we getting our leads through referrals? Are we getting our leads through marketing? Is our marketing working the way we want it to? Okay, well, if somebody fills out a form on Google, it goes to our admin team, and they have to call them. Okay, well, what if they don't call them? What happens if your admin staff doesn't call that lead? Do you know about that? What are you doing okay, you do know about that. Good. Okay. What happens if now what do you do? Okay. Let's say they call them and they don't book a call. They don't book an appointment with them. Then what happens? Oh, we just forget about them. Okay. I see. That's a problem. Right.
Lost opportunities.
Lost opportunities. Now we can say, well, how many of those do you have in your database? Now we have a possible database reactivation solution for them because we know that they have a lot of dead leads, right? So is this all starting to make sense, guys? I want a little bit of engagement. Who's falling asleep? Who's not falling asleep? Let me know if this is all making sense to you guys.
I've got one more add-on on that aspect. The other question that we also asked is, what are you currently struggling with in your business? Now, kind of unique situation, and it kind of happens with a lot of people. A lot of businesses get into business because that's their passion. I'm a baker because I love to bake. They didn't realize now that they're a baker and run their own company. Well, I got payroll and I've got to do inventory and I've got to do all these 10, 15 other things that I hate. I just want to bake. So find out which one they really don't like, and you can probably have a solution that Go Highlevel can handle.
Yeah. And at this point, guys, like, I'm going to dovetail onto what Kelly talked about yesterday. Kelly has taken this into more of a consulting method, right? Mm-hmm. So she's using the technology at her fingertips to be a trusted advisor and a consultant, which, by the way, guys, consultants make a ton of money. They can make a ton of money. You can charge a customer $50,000 a year easily to be a consultant that's just sitting there on retainer and ready to rock and roll when they need you. Right? This is we talked about different profit centers. This is another thing that you can do when you know this system and you know this platform in high level, right?
I mean, hers was a $20,000 upfront with a retainer on the back end.
I think it's $1,200 on the back end, right? Yeah. So does everybody understand the sales cycle here? Because I think that it's really, really important that, and again, I think it's really, really important because this is what changed our business and our ability to sell. To put this in perspective, I think I said this yesterday, but when I was trying to sell SaaS solutions, I couldn't sell a $97 solution to any business. I struggled so hard with it because I was trying to smash their square peg into my round hole. right? So who here feels like you've had that experience where you're trying to sell something that you've built in Highlevel, or a snapshot that somebody gave you in Highlevel? You're trying to sell that specific solution and it just doesn't feel like it's working. One's in the chat if you feel like that you've been told to do a thing, you've kind of done the thing, but you can't sell it. You're having a hard time selling it. I've been trying to sell different SaaS over a year with nada. That comes from Jared. Apparently nobody has this problem because nobody's actually admitting it. But I can say that probably a lot of you,
same boat just come in.
same boat, same issue. Yep, reputation. That's one of the things you've been trying to sell. Come on, guys. Is everybody asleep? I'm not going to continue if you guys aren't listening. We'll just end it now. Nobody. Been a marketing.
Now they're rolling in. Now they're coming
There
in.
we go. It was taking them a little bit of time to type out what their issues were. They weren't just smashing their one buttons. Cool.
Issue is giving too much is one person's. Nada works in my company too. Build it once and then sell it over and over.
Good. Okay. Cool. So guys, once you understand the customer journey that they need to create, this is kind of what's going to springboard you into what you can build. Okay. Now there is another document inside this master document, just to kind of give you guys some ideas on, hey, what should I actually be charging here? So we created this document for you guys so that you guys can have a little bit of a baseline to start to see, wait a second, this is actually way more valuable than I think it is. Okay. So basic structure, right, of a customer journey is always going to start with a pipeline. Now, we always recommend that you do one pipeline per product or per service because it makes your life a lot easier when it comes to programming Highlevel. But let's just say we're going to do a really, really simple solution for somebody. We need a single pipeline, one pipeline. Okay. Now, the way that we kind of teach inside the GHL Mastery when it comes to building your customer journey is that one pipeline is going to also have one dedicated workflow. So if this is a 10-stage pipeline, this is going to require at least 10 workflows. There's probably going to be a couple miscellaneous in there that you have to add to make this work. So you're going to do 10 different workflows to manage this customer journey. Do they need a sales funnel? Now, this again is kind of what we would typically charge for a 3-page funnel. And do they need any additional pages? So let's say they do need a funnel. They need a 5-step funnel. So there's going to be 2 additional pages. Do they need a website? Yep. Okay. They need a website. Well, they need a 10-page website. So we're going to make it
seeing on average right now.
Yeah. If you want to have all the information in there. How many forms do we actually need to build for this customer? Well, we're going to cover that in the next section on fulfillment, but I'm just going to say 3. And let's say they need 2 surveys. How many calendars do they need? Let's just say they need 3 or 4. Let's say 4. Custom API connections. You guys can brush over this if you don't know any of that. Do they need any contracts and documents built? Right. So this is another big one now that we have the ability to do. And I think Highlevel is 90% of the way there, but you can build their automations around sending and receiving contracts. So a lot of them, honestly, they don't have those types of things. So let's just say they need 2 different types of contracts. Affiliate campaigns probably don't need those. The reason that affiliate campaigns, guys, is higher is because you have to think about what actually goes into that. In order to have an affiliate campaign created, you need a funnel. In order to have, track affiliate payments, you need a products and all of that sort of stuff, right? Which is probably another thing that we could add here is product management and things like that. So, and then obviously, do you want to do graphic design for anybody? Do you have a branding package? So let's just say no. But at this point already, you're over that $10,000 build mark, right? As a simple basic benchmark, right? So if you guys aren't really quite sure what you should be charging, feel free to use this as a little bit of a guide. Feel free to add your own individual products or individual services in here so that you know roughly, hey, what can I be charging for this? And
really quick before we move on, Who here has looked at doing a custom build for a client that is similar to this size? Did you charge 10K? I want to see ones in the chat if you undercharged on your clients on this, because all of us, I mean, back in the day, I will tell you this, me and Adam have probably both done this of, yeah, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. That's going to be $1,500. When really it's worth 10K. It's worth $100,000 or $200,000 to that company, because that's what you're going to be either making or saving them over the next 12 months just from using your systems. Why can't you charge 10K for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And also keep in mind, guys, that $10,000 number that you just saw, that's just the build side of it. You can do whatever you want on the back end. You can say we got the first 3 months of this included when we're completed, and then it's going to be $497, $297, whatever $97 a month you want to charge them for the SaaS. So you're also building your SaaS revenue that way as well. But like we talked about yesterday, the really cool thing about this model is that because you are not selling a specific type of shovel to the customer, you're selling them the exact shovel they need. They're going to use it more times than not, right? One of the problems that we had when we were just selling SaaS is that it would be a really, really cool idea when we got on the first sales call. And by the way, sales calls suck when you're selling a $97 product. They suck a lot. If you're going to sell a $97 SaaS product, you better automate the crap out of your life so that you don't ever have to do those again. But it's well worth the time, effort, and energy to get on these sales calls when you're selling bigger ticket solutions. I totally lost my train of thought where I was going with that. So we're just going to keep on moving.
That happens sometimes.
Okay. Now we're at 12:55. Okay, cool. We're going to run this a little bit longer than the hour, but that's okay, because if this is actually okay, before I continue, is this benefiting anybody on this call? Because again, that's the only reason we're here. If things are starting to stick and things are starting to click, I want to know about it so that I feel comfortable enough that I can keep on rolling into the fulfillment side of things. And at the early parts of this call, I saw that a lot of people were interested in this fulfillment portion. Fulfillment, guys. Okay, there's lots of you guys. Thank you. This is good. Okay, fulfillment is the thing. If you don't get past the talking to people, you're never going to get to fulfillment. So talking to people and figuring out what problems you can solve is going to be the hardest thing when you start. Once you get comfortable doing that, the next hardest thing is going to be like, how the hell do I do this now? Okay. Well, we've got a really, really kind of simple process that we follow. And Brendan, while I'm going through this, do you mind pulling up one of our scope of work docs, like our sample scope doc, so that we can get ready to show people that, because I'm going to cover a lot of that stuff in here. Do one that's filled out, just so that we can show them kind of what, or both. Do one that's not filled out and then one that is filled out, so that we can kind of show them the process that we go through here. Okay. Fulfillment isn't as hard as you think it is when you build this out the way that we do this. Okay. So I already said this, guys. This is the part that stops people in their tracks. It's either going to stop you in your tracks because you don't know how to fulfill, so therefore you don't feel comfortable having those conversations, figuring out what problems you can solve. And so you never even get to this stage, right? There's probably a lot of you in here that feel that way, that you'll never get to this stage because you're not comfortable having those conversations or figuring out what problems you can actually solve, right? So the solutions that you have to create based off of your discovery call. You've got it priced out. You set the contracts. They sign the contracts, and you're like, oh, geez. Brendan, I remember the first one. I remember the first time we did this, and I felt that exact same way. I was like, oh, shoot. They said yes.
Now what?
They paid us $5,000. Oh, okay, here we go. And we kind of built the plane in the air, as we like to say, right? Create an easy to follow customer journey and break down each step as you're building this out. And the reason that we do this way, and I'm going to show you with when Brendan pulls it up, because once you start following this methodology, if you yourself are not going to do the work, it makes it really, really easy for other people to follow. Dude, there's tons of resources inside the Highlevel community, us included, that can easily and quickly put some of this stuff together for you if it's a bit of a challenge, a bit of a struggle for you to do it yourself. But if you can break it down in an easy to follow, simple, step-by-step process, you can hand it off to people and they can go and get it done for you. Okay. And a lot of the time, it's not going to cost you nearly as much as you're charging your customer to get it done. Okay. So let's kind of go right down to here. So where do you need to start when it comes to building out your fulfillment process? First thing you need to do is compile a list of assets that you're going to be building, designing, creating, setting up inside Highlevel for your customer to solve that specific problem. Okay. So assets are things like funnels, websites, forms, surveys, calendars, contracts, any special custom fields that are required, any special custom values that may be required. Now, we use custom values a lot less when we're doing custom solutions, because oftentimes custom values, we do have custom values for sure. Custom values are going to be system-wide values that are going to be rinse and repeatable, right? So I've got this open right here. This is actually a standard template that we have that has a standard set of custom values in it, which is not very many. Like these are kind of the standard values that are going to go into every single one of our builds. And so we've templated a lot of this, right? If you go into our pipelines and our opportunities, that's already templated. We need to change some of this stuff sometimes based on the customer's needs, but that's templated, right? In our automations, we've got all of our workflows templated. They're there. They're ready to go. We need to complete and fill in the content. But a lot of this stuff, 90% of the time, they follow the same structure, right? So you'll find this as you go along. And as you start having these conversations, the customer journey that you're going to be creating and building is actually going to be very, very similar for a lot of different companies. They might have a tweak here or there where, oh, their contracts need to be done this way, or, you know, if this customer has this thing, then I need to send them that instead of this customer having that thing and I need to send them that. Yeah, sometimes you're going to be creating some minor complexities, but a lot of the time it's the same. And so we actually have this, we just call it our standard custom build template, because we can load this into an account 90% of the time, and it's going to cover the vast majority of the things that we need to do, including the custom values. So that's one way that you can actually help speed up your fulfillment process, is by having a template like this. It's not going to be the same for everybody. Sometimes we have to start from scratch, but that's what we do. So first things first, you need to compile a list of all of the assets that that particular client needs, so that you know these are the assets that I need to build. When you start building, you're going to build your assets first. Okay, because you can't go to the next part until this part's done. Okay, so if you need to write it down, obviously you've all got access to this sheet here, but write down a list of your assets, and then that's going to be the first part of your build out. You're going to create those assets. Okay. The second part of it is building and creating your customer's customer journey, creating the pipeline, right? The pipeline is going to be the backbone of this custom solution. Okay. Your pipeline is literally, we call it a customer journey because that's what it is, right? You get a new lead, the new lead comes in. Well, what do you need to do with those new leads? What's the goal and the outcome that you're trying to achieve when a new lead comes in? Well, I want them to book a call. Okay. So then, well, you'll see in here, actually, I'll walk you through this, because this is 90% of the time, this is what the customer journey is going to look like. So it's either a new lead or a missed call, or typically how leads are going to come into the system. With the new lead, well, how are they getting in there? Are you running Google campaigns? Are you getting organic traffic to your website? Are you getting referrals? Are you running Facebook ads? How are they getting in here? Okay, now once they do get in here, what's the objective? 9 times out of 10, it's to book a call, book an appointment to sell a product, right? Now, we always have a responded stage in our systems, because oftentimes, unless you're using AI, if somebody replies to the initial outbound messages, they need to engage with them in some way, shape, or form. right? So responded is always a stage. But the goal in every stage at this point is to get them to this point of booking an appointment. So the goal of everything that you do is to get them to book an appointment. If they show up to the appointment, we've got, I'll show you guys this too. We've got an appointment status form, right? And the appointment status form is typically sent to the customer after the appointment. And it's like, what happened? Did they show up? Do you need to nurture them? Are they warm? Are they hot? Did you close the deal? And this actually controls the movement of the lead in the pipeline so that they never even have to log in to move people around, right? If they no-show, we move them backwards, because if you're not moving forwards, you're moving backwards. That's kind of how we feel, right? Do they need to be nurtured? Are they a warm prospect? Are they a hot prospect? Did you close them? Are they unresponsive? Well, guess what unresponsive leads can be used for? A DBR later on in the future, right? Did they unsubscribe, right? So there's a basic customer journey that's going to walk people from new lead all the way to sale by following that baseline structure. And again, 9 times out of 10, we follow almost this exact same structure. Sometimes we name things a little bit different. If we've got contracts that need to go out, we add, contract sent, contract signed to this structure, but that is the customer journey 9 times out of 10. Okay. So again, a lot of this stuff you can template out to speed up your building, but you're going to build your assets. Once your assets are built, you're going to build your pipeline. Okay. And honestly, the pipeline takes 20 minutes once you've got it all written out. Okay. Once you've got your pipeline, you're going to build your workflows. And you're going to build your workflows one pipeline stage at a time. Okay. So this way, it does not get overwhelming. Okay. A new lead is coming in. How is that new lead coming in? We run Google campaigns to our website. We run Facebook ads. We get organic traffic. We get referrals. Okay. There's your 4 different types of triggers. Right? What needs to happen with these? Well, if it's a Facebook ad, if it's a Facebook lead, it can go here. If it's a referral lead, it can go here. Okay, well, now you know what your action is in your workflow. You're going to do an if else statement and you're going to start to build that out. Right? Okay, great. Now your referral lead just booked a call. What needs to happen here? Well, we need to set up appointment reminders. All of those types of things. It's very, very easy when you break it down one pipeline stage at a time. And what we have found is that when you do this and they're in one pipeline stage, and you'll notice with ours are labeled with numbers, right? So that we've got pipeline A and we've got stage 001, 001.1. Well, what does that mean? That just means it's a new lead, new prospect, new stage. We haven't engaged with them really yet. 002 is responded, 003, so on and so forth. Now, if you go into our automation, we've got a folder for pipeline A. Pipeline A has a bunch of workflows, and you'll notice the numbering convention, right? With this method, it's easy for us to build on, it's easy for us to troubleshoot, and it's easy for the client to understand. If any of their leads are in 004 in their pipeline, it means that they're in 004 in their workflows, right? And by building it this way, it's easy to follow, it's easy to understand, and your customers will get it when they first log into the system. Not only that, with this method, typically when you're doing a custom build, they're gonna be building it alongside you in a lot of different cases. Typically, custom builds will take us, anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks to complete, sometimes longer depending on the complexity. But the cool part is that the client gets to be involved in that build process because you're solving their problems, right? And they're going to understand how you built it, why you built it that way, and what's actually taking place when they actually jump into the system and start using it, which is going to help you avoid clients leaving because they know exactly what's going on with the CRM. They know how it works. They know what to do because they've been a part of the process the whole way through. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay, we're going to walk you through this document right here. And then Brandon, I'm going to get you just be ready on your trigger because you're going to be showing. So
Already got it.
Perfect. So we will literally go through this on call number 1. Once we've got a signed client and they're ready to rock and roll. We're going to go through this structure here and build their pipelines, which we don't call pipelines. We call them your customer journey, right? The customer journey is going to be different for each product or each service. So we create different pipelines for each one. Okay. Different pipelines, different workflows, different everything. Everything's going to be separated and really, really simple to follow and understand. So this is going to be the first thing that you do when you get on that call with that client is you are going to build out this. It's so stupid simple. You got to suck to not understand it, right? And then you're going to just follow this. So we've got a naming conventions for everything on this document here as well. And it just kind of walks you through all of your pipeline stages, all of your workflow stages. And then you just literally build in a straight line to solve that problem. And again, 9 times out of 10, it just works because you've already determined what the solution is going to be. Sometimes you don't even need a pipeline for any of this stuff. Sometimes it's just simple communication automations that they need to have, right? But because you had that discovery call with them, because you figured out exactly what the problem was and what the value of that problem was, you can charge more for simple solutions too. So don't put yourself in that box. Okay. Brandon's going to pull up a really quick sample scope of work document. And this is something that we've kind of been building over the last year and a half and refining over the last year and a half as we've gotten more and more of these. If you've ever done a custom build with us, you will have seen this process already. But this is a empty blank version of the customer journey document. Okay.
This is literally all I have when I start off my calls.
Yep. So the very first thing that you're going to put on this document is the goals and outcomes that you are trying to achieve with your customer. Okay. So that's going to be based off of the discovery call. That's going to be based off of all of the sales calls that you've had prior to this point. By the way, use ChatGPT to help you write this stuff. It is awesome. It helps speed that up quite a lot. But the goals and outcomes, creating a clear and defined outcome that you are going to be creating for your customer is going to help that customer to say yes. Okay, you're going to create the customer journey pipeline. And then we've got funnels, websites, surveys, workflows, automations, calendars, contracts, all of those things that are assets that we need. You are going to put into this deliverables section right here. And the reason that we do this is because this scope of work doc actually becomes our contracts.
Now, there was a question earlier in the chat of, what's a list of assets that Go High Level has? And there was a confusion between assets and features. So what's listed here is features. The asset is what we're going to be putting into that. So a built out customized customer journey in the pipelines is an asset to that company. The sales funnel is an asset. The website's an asset. The section to put those into, those are just features that Go High Level gives. Customized workflows that are doing X, Y, Z systematization of the company. Those are assets. Assets are actionable things or sellable things that their customers are interfacing with that is making their processes easier. So those are what assets are. A form filled out that a customer can go to and fill out the form is an asset. Hope that helps.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So
here's what an asset is going to look like once all this stuff gets filled out. It looks more like this. Now, this is an older one. This is one of our first clients that we had back a while ago. But this is what it looks like once everything is flushed out and built out.
Okay, stop here, Brendan. Scroll up a little bit because I want to show you guys what we do here. The build structure, notice the 000 new lead. You guys have already seen that, right? So that is the first pipeline stage, which is also the first workflow. Okay, so in here, we lay it out with, okay, how? What's the trigger that gets them in here? It's a Facebook ad. The Facebook ad form is an asset, and it has name, email, phone number. Okay, what needs to happen? That's your workflow action. So add to workflow 000 new lead. And again, as we build this out, yes, this takes a little bit of time the first few times that you've done it, But once you've done it a few times, it gets you get really, really good and really, really fast. And oftentimes you can regurgitate all the same stuff that you did in the last ones, right? And it becomes really, really quick to do. But if you notice that the workflow, before I move forward, everybody's seen those fancy dancy flowcharts. Brendan and I don't do flowcharts because we're not artsy and we can't make them look good and they look terrible and we suck at them. So we do it this way for our own purposes. But you could absolutely convert something like this to a flowchart that is a visual representation of what you're doing. But for us, it's what needs to happen. You've got the workflow. This is actually, you're building a workflow on a Google Doc. What happens? We add a new lead tag. We send a welcome email and SMS. We wait 24 hours. We send another one. We wait 24 hours. We send another one. We wait 24 hours. We send another one. What is the goal and outcome that we're trying to accomplish here? Get the customer to respond or to book an appointment. Okay. Unresponsive leads. What happens to unresponsive leads? So they don't respond to anything. Okay. We're going to update the opportunity and we're going to move them to the nurture pipeline. So we have just in that one little section there shown you a workflow. Right? Workflow number 2, which is also pipeline stage number 2, which is 001 responded lead. How do they get in here? It's responded to workflow 001 new lead. That's one trigger, right? Channels are SMS, email, and messenger. What needs to happen? And what does that mean? That's the workflow. That's the action. So we're going to remove them from 001 new lead because they accomplished goal, one of the goals from 000. We're going to remove the old tag. We're going to add a new one. We're going to book an appointment internally. That's kind of the goal of this one. But as you guys can see, all we're doing is we're breaking down each pipeline stage with the workflow, or sorry, each pipeline stage with the trigger and then the workflow actions, and then we're spelling it out. This is what we're doing in this workflow.
Now, really quick, there was a great question here. Is this after they signed as a client, or is this a follow-up call to the discovery call? So this here, this document, because it's so detailed and flushed out, this is going to take you time. Don't do work you're not getting paid for. We made that mistake. We learned that. We learned that, yes. So we used to do this on the discovery call, this exact document. We used to do it on the discovery call. We didn't even have the client yet sign the document. So now what we do is we do a very summarized version of this. In order
basically what we do now is the first call and basically the proposal document becomes this document right here. So these are the goals and the outcomes of what we're going to be doing. These are all of the deliverables, the assets that we're going to be creating for you. These are the timelines. So this document here actually becomes our contract.
So we do a very summarized aspect. So if you go back to the other tab, since you're running it, if you scroll back down to the workflow section, this right here, see how it's flushed out with all the details that we're going to be building. Instead, we just go that we're going, okay, we need to do an appointment workflow. We need to do a nurturing workflow. We need to do a contact side. At the top, I'll probably do workflows. There's going to be 10 of them. And here's the list of the 10 workflows I'm going to be doing. And that's what goes on the discovery call document. So that way I just have a roadmap of, I know what we're going to be doing. Then we get on a post-discovery call where we actually call it a project management call. And on that one, which is an hour long, I'll flush out this document saying, okay, we talked about doing 10 workflows. Let's go to workflow 1 and let's go through that step by step. Okay, they're a new lead. What's the trigger? How are they becoming a new lead? We've got forms out there. We got XYZ. Okay, we got those triggers. Now that they've done that, now that they've entered this workflow, what do we want to have happen with that lead? So we'll have those conversations after they've actually signed and paid. And that's when we'll flush out these documents.
Yeah. Now, the reason that this is important, and I want you guys to learn from our mistakes, the reason that this is really, really important right here, like I said, this is effectively what builds our contracts, right? So we have the goals and outcomes that we're going to achieve based on the conversations that we've had. These are all of the assets that we are going to build and deliver for you. And if custom integrations isn't on that list, we just delete this from their document and it's not on that list, right? So we can build this out to be however we want it to be built out. We can come down here and we can say, oh, you know what? This is a really simple one. So we can decrease our timelines on this stuff. We can increase them if it's going to be more complex. But the reason that this document became so important to us was because the first few that we were doing, the first few that we had done, we would complete the project according to our scope, but then they would say, oh, but we need to add this, we need to add that. And then we can come back to the scope of work document, which is, again, it's effectively, this is the contract that we create for them, and say, well, that's not on our original scope doc that you signed off on. So let's go back to our pricing guide. You needed an extra 3 pages for your funnel. Okay, it's going to be an extra $600. And then we can go back and we can add this to the living scope of work doc, right? But somebody mentioned this in the chat. This doc is gold. It's literally a step-by-step of what to do and how to do it. That is exactly the point that I wanted to get across on this portion of the fulfillment call, because if you can do this, then you can build this quite easily inside of Highlevel.
Or hand it off to somebody to build.
The other thing that you can do is you can hand this off to someone else to build it for you while you go and sell some more stuff. Because sales is the lifeblood of your business. So you should not get caught up in, you will get caught up in this the first few times that you do it. You're going to create this process for yourself, because our process might not be perfect for you, but our process works pretty darn good. But again, once you get to that scale point, and if you go and charge someone $10,000, go and pay someone $3,000 to do it for you.
Or 5 or even 8. You made $2,000 off of that just for selling. And then doing a little bit of management. And now, then the other aspect is this bottom portion. Somebody said earlier, 4 to 6 weeks in order to do a build, doesn't the customer get frustrated? No, because they understand before we even started, okay, we're going to be going through this phase. It's going to be taking about a week. This is going to be initial calls. We're going to do all the gathering that we need to do. All that gathering is building this document. Okay, next our team is then going to get in there. We're going to be doing all of the build out and getting all the systems in place. After that, we're going to go into what we call our alpha testing phase. We're going to be going through making sure that everything's working appropriately and then move into beta testing. Once we get done with that, we're going to get with your team. Beta testing will be that your team will be in the system and testing it out and working with it as if you're a customer. Next, we'll go into the training phase, which we're going to teach all of your team how to implement the entire process. Next is post-implementation, which is you guys are using the system and you're going to be talking to us and making and any bugs that are in there, we're going to work out and make sure that it's a smooth system. And then we have the ongoing support and maintenance, which is an additional month, 6 months, whatever you want to put in there. Of now we're on our software fee, you're on your own. And then if you do run into issues in those 6 months or 3 months or 1 month, we will fix any of those bugs post that time frame. Then it's going to be that we're going to charge you our hourly rate to go in and fix bugs. And the full expectation before we even start the project. Now they're like, okay, I can see that. Yeah, okay, these are going to take 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks in order for this entire process to take place and get built out.
And when you're selling somebody a custom solution, I don't think we have ever had somebody say that's too long. In fact, we had one of the clients that we're working with right now, when they came onto our first discovery call, they were like, we expect this will take 6 months. Well, geez, that gave us a lot of breathing room. That was their expectation, not ours. Right? And so because you're building something so customized to this customer, they're willing to do it right the first time. And that's another message that we try to send. We are going to try to do this right the first time so that this testing, training, and implementation phase is very minimal. That's at best, right? So you're setting the expectations up front as to what you're actually developing, what you're actually building. And guys, part of this is the conditioning that we have as GHLers to sell snapshots. Right? So with what we're talking about, we're not talking about selling snapshots. We're not talking about snap quick, get a new customer. They're all of a sudden in the software and they're going to use the software and it's going to be amazing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an infinitely more scalable solution that, yes, takes a little bit more time. It takes a little bit more effort in the front end. And once you've gotten this system down, it's infinitely more scalable, right? Because what are the things that I said you could do with that money? You can hire people to remove yourself from portions of the business that you don't like to do. It's very hard to do that when you're selling a $297 SaaS, right? And I'm sure some of you guys are going to give us this exact same objection when it comes to, why should you join the GHL Mastery program? We're going to teach you how to do all of this stuff, first and foremost. And second of all, we can be your dev team and we can be the ones that do this stuff for you. But the biggest objection that we always get for people that are joining the GHL Mastery program is, I just need one more client to cover that cost. Right? And when you're doing $297 or $497 SaaS solutions, you're always going to need that one more client, because you're always going to get a client, you're going to lose a client, you're going to get a client, you're going to lose a client. That's the reality of a SaaS company. We are not a SaaS company. We are a technology company, right? We are a solutions building company. That's kind of how we framed our business, right? And so we are not looking for those quick wins for our customers all the time. We're looking for an overarching long-term business goals solution, which allows us to be software developers. It allows us to be technology consultants. It allows us to do a lot of things where we can actually probably even charge more than that $10,000, like Kelly does. $20,000 consulting fee, which, yeah, part of that is going to be, we're going to rebuild your systems, and then $1,200 a month on the back end. Guess what she doesn't have to do? She doesn't have to run ads. She doesn't have to constantly tweak and monitor and manage, results that she's getting for her clients. Although she will be doing that through, the CRM functions, but she gets to be involved in that business and help that business develop and grow with technology and using solutions to create business efficiency. That's what you have the ability to do with the Highlevel platform. I saw Tracy said, hey, somebody, this document's great, but it's not on the other document. We will put our sample docs on the other document.
You're
so
not
that
getting
guys...
REI reply document. I'm sorry, that's a customer
No.
for a customer. I cannot legally or ethically put that in there.
Well, in the GHL Master, we have a custom builds doc template that shows you exactly how we actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy to add that to this as well. So
yeah. And so one thing also that I want to put out there, I don't know, are we moving into, do we have any more to cover yet today?
That's pretty much it.
Right. So just like any webinar, right?
Yes, I do want to show you the one last thing that we were wanting to talk about on the fulfillment side, because fulfillment is going to be the thing that's going to stop most of you guys in your tracks from actually pulling the trigger and doing something.
That's actually what I was about to talk about. So guys, anybody who's on the fence about this stuff, one of the things that we offer to anybody who is a VIP member that joins GHL Mastery family in the VIP or platinum levels, we are your fractional dev team. The saying that I tell every single, a lot of people that join ours are like, man, I just don't understand Go High Level at all. No problem. Go and talk to your clients. Your client at some point is going to tell you what problem they have and ask you if you have the solution. Can you solve this solution? What I tell every single one of the students, this is the line you use. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm a sales rep. Let me go talk to my dev team, and I can get that answer back to you.
I see Rob Baker smiling a little bit because we literally just had this conversation and we're trying to get a call booked with his prospect for next week. Right.
Yeah. And so then all you do is you there's many different channels. You can literally on your phone right then open up one of the communications channels with us and say, hey, my client is asking for XYZ. Can Go High Level do that? And then we come back sometimes right then. Sometimes it might take us a minute because, like here, I'm not answering questions in our VIP chat. There isn't any, but we're not answering questions right now because we're busy. But then we'll give you an answer, and then you go back to your client and say, hey, yes, we can do that for you. This is how we would be able to solve that.
And I want to walk you guys through. I want to walk you guys through one more thing. You're not quite sure how to do it. You can use this exact same template that we created for you to kind of price things out if this is the methodology that you want to go with. But we have a second tab over here on our version of this sheet for our GHL Mastery folks. Well, actually, no, this doesn't matter. You can use us regardless of whether or not you're a GHL Mastery student. But this is roughly what we recommend that you charge for this. Over here, we've got our kind of baseline dev pricing for all of this sort of stuff. So if you fill in all of these categories, those categories also get filled in over here. And this gives you a price breakdown of how much it will cost for us to develop and build this for you. That number seems high to a lot of you, but it's not once you're actually getting people to say yes to that $10,000 build. You're making $3,000, and plus you're making the monthly recurring on the back end of the software. Now, if you are a VIP member, so if you get in on currently we've got the trial right now for 197. I currently have that set to end tonight. But one of our awesome sales reps was like, you know what, man, we should extend that to the end of tomorrow. So I'm going to do that to give you guys an opportunity to get it at the 197 trial price. But if you are a VIP member, we add a 25% discount to that rate for us to build it for you. And if you are a platinum member and you need a full custom build, we drop it even further by 50%. Now, the other really cool thing about the platinum level is that when you're platinum level, you can actually request for us to do any one of these things at a time, and we will do it for you for free. If you need a full custom build for a client, then yes, we do charge you to do the full custom builds. But if you just need a simple 3-page funnel for your client, that's included. We'll build it for you as one of our platinum members. If you need a 3-page website, no problem. We'll build it for you, right? If you need to add pages, yeah, we'll charge you a little bit, but again, it's going to be 50% off on that. So you can leverage our team to make this happen for your business so that you don't actually have to be the fulfillment part of your business. We can be the fulfillment part of your business, or you can show up to every single one of the calls that we have Monday through Friday, and we can help you incrementally build these systems out together so that you fully understand how to actually use the platform and how to use the system. For those of you guys that are in the GHL Mastery program, I would love it if you guys would just throw some comments in the chat here for other people to read about your experience inside the program, because it doesn't really matter what we say. It matters what the people that are in the program say. And so if you guys don't mind throwing some of that inside the chat there. Adam and Noman have been consistently dropping the links for you guys to get the trial. We made a big oops yesterday. There was a few of you guys that wanted it and you went to the trial page and there was no product. That has been fixed. So if you guys want to get
Remember yesterday it said imperfect action every time. There it is.
Right. So if you guys want to get in today and tomorrow, we will extend it to tomorrow night. You can get in on a 30-day trial. You can cancel it at any time. 30 days, $197. You get access to our entire membership area, our Core 4 AI system, all of our workshop training videos. You get access to every single call that we do Monday through Friday. And, you know, we're here to answer any of your questions that you have. You also get access to our ticketing system, which is obviously where we also do some of the build requests that you guys may have. So today and tomorrow are your last chances to get the $197 trial price, though that will be going away. I guess I'm going to extend it till the end of tomorrow night. So by Saturday, that will not be available. Our regular price is $497 for the GHL Mastery program. But we would love to see you guys in there. If you guys really just need to get a better handle on what Highlevel is, what it can do, so that you can start to, like, honestly, our goal with every single person, it's called GHL Mastery because we want you to master the platform so that you can actually go out and create unique solutions to unique problems that customers have. Because when you can start doing that, that is when you can start to scale and make money. You're going to generate high value skill sets within the program. And Rob, I'm going to pick on you just a little bit here. Rob is like one of our favorite types of VIP members, because Rob came in, he downloaded our Core 4 AI system. He's been on every single call. He's on every single call 10 minutes early, with his hand up, ready to rock and roll. And Rob comes in, loads our Core 4 AI system, and is like, hey, I think I could probably make this even better. And you'd think I would be offended by that, but I wasn't at all. I was super stoked, because what Rob was able to do after probably about 2 weeks is take our entire AI system and create a brand new AI demo platform out of our Core 4 AI system that, like, I didn't even think to do. Right. But Rob came into every single call, asked a question. Once his question was answered, he got to work, started doing some new things, came back on and said, okay, I did it. What do I need? What did I break? And then we go through it again and we fix all the little things that he broke. And he's like, awesome. And he goes and he continues to build. And then this is the part that I'm going to pick on Rob a little bit. But Rob has done an amazing job of taking something, learning it, implementing it, building it. But Rob's only problem is that he's masturbating too much, and not actually getting out there and selling. And so one of the other things that you're going to get when you join the GHL Mastery program, just like Rob, is a swift kick in the pants when you need it. Because Rob was building for like 3-4 weeks. And he's like, now what do I do? And it's like, go and talk to people, right? Go and do that one thing that we said was really, really hard to do at the beginning. Go and talk to people, show people what you've got, and see if it actually will solve their problem. Because otherwise, you're going to sit there and build and realize that nobody actually wants that solution, and then you won't be able to sell it. Right. And so not only are you going to get the skill set to build and know how to build and get the help to build those things and even have us build them for you, we're going to kick you in the pants when you need it, because it's not about building cool SaaS stuff. It's about growing and building your own business that can scale. And that to me is, well, to us, is really the core of why we do what we do, because we see the Highlevel community and everybody's pushing SaaS, but we also see in the Highlevel community how few people are actually scaling and making money with Highlevel. And that hurts my feelings, because you actually have one of the greatest softwares on the face of the earth, in your back pocket. And so learn how to use it to its full potential. And there's really nothing you cannot do with it. So it's funny. You saw our mistake yesterday where we were trying to put $7,500 into the calculator, and we accidentally put 75,000. Well, we were kind of joking about it, but like, no, we're serious. We actually want to get to the point in our business where we are doing $75,000 a year consults with people. That is one of our goals. And that is what you guys can also do with this platform. So, guys, I really hope that the last couple of days was a big time eye opener, for some of you, that you have more in your back pocket than you think you do. You don't have to go and do what everybody's telling you to do and just sell SaaS. You can do a lot more with this platform than you think you can. And so if we got nothing but that across, then I would consider this last 2 days a resounding success, if even half of you guys picked up on that. And if the rest of you guys join our GHL Mastery VIP program, then we'll be even more stoked to be able to walk that journey with you guys. And if you don't, then it's all good. You now know what's possible, right? We're not going to be offended. We will be doing these all the time, and you're more than welcome to hop on every single one and learn a little bit more every single time. But if you want to fast track that, I'm a little bit biased, but there's no better place to be.
Well, heck, I mean, case in point, me and Adam with our mentors. Adam, I think it took you a year before you jumped on with them. It took me
Yep.
about a year and a half before I jumped on with them. And so we get it. Take your time. If it's not right for you now, it's not right for you now. But we'll always be here.
And if cost to you is the issue right now, I want you to hit me I want you to shoot me a DM. I
Either
think
of us.
Adam or Noman dropped it in the comments somewhere to shoot me a message. So if cost is an issue, I want you to message me because I don't want it to be an issue. We'll work something out with you guys to make sure that it can happen, because I think that your growth potential is massive, but you have to take that first step. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. That's all. Those of you guys that are already in the VIP, we are going to be jumping on another call. I just have to go get some water because my throat is parched. So we will see you guys. Yeah, I will one of these days. We will see you. We will see you guys on it's the AI call, but what I would like to actually do today is just kind of break down everything that we just went over the last 2 days. We won't necessarily focus on AI, even though Brendan has something he really wants to show everybody.
I really want to show. We'll do it at the end. It's fine.
For those of you guys that just joined, Noman, if you could put your link in here. So if you guys did just join the GHL Mastery program, I'm going to make sure that Noman gets the links out to you, and actually Adam, because Noman, you're probably almost done for the day, but Adam, you can also do that as well. Just keep an eye out for people. Get access to the VIP group, and we'll make sure that you get on the call this afternoon as well. So guys, thank you for all giving us your time and attention over the last 2 days. We really, really appreciate it. We're doing what we love to do. And I hope that you guys also continue to do the things that you love to do and grow and scale your businesses. So we will see the VIPers in the next room, and everybody else, we hope to see you in there soon.
Take care, everybody.